Hi and welcome to another episode of Lids Off. I am your host, Bo Snow, and holy, across the border, we've got another fabulous guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, Queen?
Okay, hello. My name is Abbie, she, her. I'm 24. I play for Caledonia Chaos, formerly Edinburgh Wolves. I also coach the Heriot Wolverines. I play mostly D-line. I dabble in other areas though. NFL team, it's got to be the 49ers.
We'll end the interview there, because fuck the Niners.
Them boys.
How about them Cowboys? Anyway, so, how did football find you, Abby?
It's quite funny actually. I didn't want football to find me. I was quite adamant that I wasn't going to join because one of my friends, she was playing with Edinburgh Wolves at the time. She was one of the quarterbacks and she was really enjoying it and like having a great time. She was like, "Oh, you should come along," and I was like, "No," because I'd never the last time I'd played a sport, I was maybe about 12 or 13, and I gave it all up to pursue something else. So I hadn't played anything like remotely athletic for over a decade, and I was like, "I'm okay. I really don't think I'd fit in. I don't think my body's not built like an athlete. I would look stupid. I would feel like an idiot, and especially like a sport like American football. It's very physically demanding." So I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I don't even have football boots. It's fine." So then Christmas comes round, and she appears at my door in her car. She's like, "Oh, we'll go and get a coffee. I've got your present." I was like, "Okay, cool." Thought we weren't doing presents, but fine. And she handed me a pair of football boots. And she was like, "You have to come now." And I'm like, "That's blackmail." That's what that is. But yeah, it took about a month and a bit to kind of come to terms of being like, right, just go and do it. If you like it, cool. If you don't need to go. And then it was a black hole and I fell into it, and I've been here for 3 years and I don't see a way out. Yeah, I love it now. Like, I absolutely love it. But I was really, I think I had a weird experience because I was very apprehensive at the start because I just did not think it would fit me. But it's actually been the perfect fit for me, and it's like opened up so many more doors for me. Not even like fitness type of thing, like social and like even work as well. It's really benefited me overall.
So, were you aware of American football before? Like,
Yeah.
how were you aware of it before you joined it?
I'd seen a couple of posts on Instagram. Like, I'd watched like half a game, half of I think it was the division playoff game, because the 49ers were playing the Rams. And then my friend was like, "You should watch it, and like you'll get like up to speed with it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." It's kind of how I chose my team as well, because I watched that game and was like, "Oh, I kind of like a couple of those players. They're kind of cool, and I like the uniform, and the fans seem cool." I was like, "Yeah, that's how I picked the team." So I hadn't really I wasn't like a massive fan beforehand. I'm a big sports fan, but I meant like NFL was never a big thing for me. Like it was always football in the house, but like soccer football here. So yeah, I mean, I'd never known that there was even a league in the UK. Like, I was completely unaware.
Okay, so then your friend finally managed to get you down to a training session. What were your feelings like turning up to the training? Like, how was it?
Oh, my heart about fell out my backside. I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, what if people think I'm weird? Like, what if I don't make any friends? What if I'm not good at it?" Because I've got like a very like that gene of like, if I'm not good at something straight away, then I usually give up. Like, I've got a lot of hobbies, but if I'm not good at a hobby straight away, I will just scrap it and never see it again, because I hate to not be good at something, because I've always, I don't know, it's just like a strive for perfection. So I was really nervous, but I mean, the minute I walked in and seen everybody and thought, "Oh, no one didn't, like, not everybody looked like a prime athlete." Like, yeah, there were people who were like very fit and healthy, but not everybody looked the same. And I was like, "Oh, thank God, like, not the only person here who just looks like a normal human." Like, yeah, I was scared shitless, but it was probably one of the best things I've done for like not only my physical but my mental health as well.
That's so cool. So were you automatically sorted onto defense, or were you kind of given the rotation? How did that work?
I walked in and Lindsay went, "Is this Abby?" And Erin went, "Yeah." She went, There, hen, right over to that line." And I went, "Oh, okay." And Erin was like, "Oh, good luck," because she knew obviously where I was going. I had no idea. I was like, okay, cool. So I walked over, and a couple of the girls were standing there. Jenny was standing there. I was like, hi, I'm Abbie. And everybody was like, all right. And then like we started like training, and I'd come like a couple of weeks into pre-season training, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And everybody else knew what was going on. And I was like, oh my God, I've delved deep into something that I can't get out of now, because I've now got 2 hours of this and I don't know what I'm doing. But like, yeah, it was very much like you're going over there, you're going to go to D-line, but D linemen are typically not as short as me. They're quite like middle average height, but like strong. So like when I got sorted over there, I was fully expecting running back. God knows, I don't know what corner maybe. Like I did not expect D line at all. But then Lindsay came over and was like, quite quick, and you're short, so you can like just sneak out the way. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I love that. Avoiding contact. Perfect. I don't like people touching me. Fantastic. So yeah, first training session was a bit of a disaster at the end because we went into scrimmage and I didn't realise you could tackle someone without the ball. So I spent about 40 minutes hanging onto the O-lineman's legs, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Fully don't know what's going on. And she's like, okay, cool. Well, you can't tackle me. I don't have the ball. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. But yeah, just kind of like shunted over to defence. I've been training offence this year, and it is a dream to play running back, but I think we've got too many running backs in the team already that are well clued up on what's going on and know exactly what they're doing, and they're also very good. So I'm just gonna stick to my line because I do enjoy it. It's a very fun.
I feel like when you're talking about how you got sorted over, like, you know, Harry Potter, sorted into D-line, do you feel like it was a shift almost for you because you were saying about people having these athletic bodies, and then Lindsay saying actually you're small but quite agile?
Mm-hmm.
Did that start planting the seed of actually my body is also an athletic body as well?
For sure, like I'd never seen myself as like an athletic person, like in the slightest. I'd played sport, like I'd played like football, gymnastics and stuff like that, but footballers are naturally quite tall, lean people. In gymnastics, you don't really need to be a certain height, but again, lean. And I've never been a lean person. I've always been quite short and stocky. Like it's genetics. I can't do anything about it, which I don't mind. I've actually learned to love it. I didn't when I was growing up, like as a teen, but now I've definitely grown to love it, especially with football as well, because playing where I play, 9 times out of 10 you're up against someone who is naturally taller and broader than you, but they might not be as quick. And I've always found joy when people maybe, like, I might line up against someone and think, Christ, double my height, this is quite scary. And then you get your first snap out of the way and you're like, I'm getting round her quick. Like, we're all good, everything's fine in the world. She's not laid a finger on me yet. Like, but yeah, it definitely changed my perception of myself, because when I went in I was like, oh God, like, where can they put me? Because I'm not tall enough to get over someone and catch a ball. Like, I've got good hands, I can catch a ball, but it's not something that I ever saw myself doing either. But yeah, I think it definitely like switched my perception of myself and kind of made me more confident about the fact that yeah, I might not look like Serena Williams, but like I'm an athlete in a different way from her.
Has that had an impact on you outside of sports as well?
I mean, I've always kind of struggled like with my perception of myself, like as a person, because I'd always been compared to, like, everyone was like, oh my God, you look so much like your dad. Now my dad's a different gender to me, and there's also 30, 40 years my senior. So it's like, yeah, I know I look like him, but I am my own person. And I was always like the academic person. I was never like a person who you could rely on for 5-a-side or whatever, even though I was so interested in sport, even like from so young, but I was interested in watching it and not playing it. But from football, I've discovered like a completely new set of skills that I'd never really ever expected to have before, because went to the gym maybe 2 or 3 times before I joined football and hated it because all everybody else wanted to do was cardio. And I don't understand people who enjoy cardio. Like,
Same.
it's such a twisted game that, like, people are like, oh, I'm just going to do my half an hour on the treadmill, and I'm like, I'm going home. I'm not doing that. Like, I'll do cardio like at the gym now, but it's not the focus of my sessions. The focus of my sessions is strength and building muscle. And even if I'm not like walking around like Sam Sulek, like I have muscle and I have strength, and football was the only reason that ever happened. Like, I would never have got into the gym and actually started enjoying the gym if it hadn't been for football, because I got into the gym to rehabilitate an injury I got from football. So
what did you injure, and how did that kind of...
I think it was our last game of the season against the Pirates, and I was probably about a foot away from the quarterback, and she just juked me a belter. Like, she just done me out of my shoes. But my foot was facing one way and my leg was facing the other, and my kneecap just popped out. Like, I heard it, but my foot was stuck in like the AstroTurf. So I like fell over on myself and my knee was out, and I was like, I don't know where I am and what's going on. All I heard was like 3 distinct clicks, and I was like, oh, this is fun. So I like rolled about on the ground for maybe 3 seconds, rolled back up, and I looked down and I was like, I thought it was my knee pad at first, and I thought my knee pad had just slid, like that you wear. And I was like,
no,
it was my knee. So I like went to shift it back into place, not realising that I'd shifted my actual kneecap back into place. And then I heard a click again, and I was like, I couldn't feel anything. Felt nothing. And then I was like holding my knee, and I was like, oh no. And my parents, who had come to watch one game, were sitting at the side like, oh my god.
Mate,
because
no.
they've always saw what happened. And I'm facing the sideline, and all my coaches are standing there, and all the players are standing there, and I'm just holding my knee. And then another girl had went down at the same time as well. So we were both just down. She went down with a knee issue as well, but she'd had knee issues before. This was like, I'd never had an injury. Like, never had a sports injury. Like, I'd broken my arm. I was 3 at the time. So I'd never dealt with anything like this before. And I was like, oh, I'll just try and get up. And then my coach at the time screamed at me. He was like, sit down, don't move. And I was like, okay. But yeah, it was a bad injury. But again, because I'd never had an injury, like sports related or any really related at any point, I didn't know how to fix it. Like, I didn't know how to rehabilitate it. Like, I just, for like a year after that, I just kind of like winged it.
Really? You didn't like have physio or anything?
I had physio for like 2 months, but it wasn't like, she would give me exercises to do and I just wouldn't do them.
Which is fair, because like, I've had conversations with Amy from Teesside who did her ACL, and she said, you know, the NHS is great, but it's not sports specific. Is that what you found as well? That it was just like not a vibe, you couldn't adapt to it? So,
well, I done the most Scottish thing possible, and instead of going to the hospital after the game, I went out.
Mate, no, you didn't.
Yeah, and I also fell down a flight of stairs that night as well. I just had that day was just, it went from amazing, because I got my first fumble recovery that day, and I felt like JJ Watt. I felt like a big man. I was like, oh my god, I am an athlete. I am the man. I am it. And then I think it was 2 plays later, I was like, oh, my kneecap's out. That's fun. And my mum and dad begged me not to go out. They were like, just come home. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And they're like, you can't put weight on you. I was like, it's fine. Because we were going from Edinburgh to Glasgow, because it was my friend and a girlfriend at the time. We were all going out. And I was like, I'll be fine. I wasn't fine.
Abbie.
I got worse as the night went on. And I literally, by the end of the night, I could not put any weight on my other leg. So I woke up the next morning at my friend's flat, and she was like, I'm just going to go up to my girlfriend's house to like collect some stuff. I'll be back down. I said, mate, go for it. I'll be fine. Because at that point, I still couldn't, like, I really couldn't feel it, because I'd been drinking the night before. So at this point, I was just hungover. So I was like, it's just, I'm fine. So then I like sat down on the ground, and I was like putting my stuff into my bag, because I'd text my mum and been like, can you come pick me up? She was like, yeah, sure. And she texted me and was like, oh, I'm outside. And I went to like, I was sitting on the floor with my back against the couch. And I went to like push like my weight onto my hands to get back up onto the couch, and I couldn't. I sat on that floor for like 35 minutes, and my mum texted me and was like, I'm outside, are you ready? And I'm like, I can't move. I physically can't put any weight on my leg. I eventually got up. I was just like, came outside, and I was like really like wincing in pain. And I got in, and you know, as mums do, shouldn't have done that. And I was like, I'm aware now. I'm very much aware. And I went home and just like cried. It was horrible. But to cut back to what you were saying, I went to the hospital that day when, I think it was a Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday. And I went in, and someone on like my scheme had like given me a pair of crutches to go in, because she's a nurse at the hospital, and she was like, just use these to go in and keep them until you don't need them anymore, and then you can just give them back. And I said, cool. So then I went to the hospital and she was like, yeah. So she used all the big medical jargon words of what a dislocation of the left knee is. I didn't have like an MRI, didn't have like an X-ray or anything. She was just like, so what happened? And I explained to her, and she was like, yeah, it sounds like a typical dislocation. She was like, you need to be careful because it can happen again. I said, right, okay, cool. But I was like expecting her to go and send me for like a scan of something because there's ligaments around. Like, she was just like, you might have torn your patella tendon. She was like, but again, there's not really much they can do for it. Like, usually ACL tear, they can like repair it with surgery and stuff, but they don't tend to like bring me in for surgery on like a patella tendon. It's not that important a tendon, apparently. I then found out that I think it was 6 months later, that I had ruptured my patella tendon. But it knitted together at the bottom, so it wasn't like that bad, but I do have a lot of pain in it still. It's just
fucking hell, that's
just
awful.
Great first year.
That's awful. So how long were you out for? Oh, you said it was at the last tournament. Yeah.
Last game of the season. But we had finals 5 weeks later, and I told my parents I wasn't going to play, and then I did.
Abbie!
I have no regard for my health. No regard for my physical health, man.
Fuck! I'm getting that impression. Shit!
I mean, you know what, right? The thing is that I could have done so much worse those two games because we played the Leicester Falcons and the Peterborough Royals that day. So the first game, it was a pretty like straightforward game. Everything was working well. Everything was going good. We were scoring. I think we got 2 defensive touchdowns, and everything was running smoothly. And I wasn't like getting a lot of like, you know, like when you come up, if you're a D line coming up against no lineman, I wasn't getting a lot of like pushback. Like, there was fighting, but either she was getting past me or I was getting past her. There wasn't a lot of like togetherness, which is where I thought I was going to do my knee. But when we played against the Royals, I got much more of like a response from the row lineman, which I was expecting because I'd been watching film for like a month, and I was like, I know what I need to do against her. I know what I need to do against her. I was like really clued up because I was adamant I was playing this game. I was like, I don't care where my body is at the end of this game. I am not missing finals. And I'm very glad I didn't, because if I'd went down there and not played, I wouldn't have... You know, people might think that this is like not the right thing to say, but I wouldn't have felt as comfortable collecting the medal at the end if I hadn't played one snap of football.
No, that's completely fair.
Even though, like, I'd done enough for us to get to there, I'm still part of the team that won. I was just very glad that I was able to make it on the field for, like, any length of time. Like, even if it was one snap of football in, like, the final game, I would have been like, right, well, I've done something. Like, if I'd sat at the side of the field, like, the entire time, I just would have felt so, like, defeated of myself. But I think that's just my own kind of, like, brain doing that to me, because there's like plenty of other people who didn't play that game who are just as deserving of like the title win. It just, for me, I was just like, I need to play.
No, I completely get that. It's like, you know, you said before about, you know, wanting to be a perfectionist, and I completely get that mentality of, you know, I need to earn it. And that standard you hold for yourself. No, I completely get that. So then you play finals. What happened in between? Was it rest?
Yeah,
or...
I just rested the whole time. I didn't practice. I didn't train. I think the only time I trained was during walkthroughs, where I would like stand and we were like talking about what like we were going to line up in and what cover we were going to be in and what was going on. But I didn't train for those like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, I did not like put kit on. I did not put my helmet on. And then on the way down, I was taping up, and Moody was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You know what I'm doing, and you would do the same thing, so shut up." And she was like, "Sure." And she did do the same thing for a whole year, so she could just stay quiet. It was just like, everybody was like, "Are you playing?" And I'm like, "Of course I'm playing. I'm fine." And they're like, "Are you though?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Because by that point, the swelling had went down a lot. It was still sore. Like, it was still like sore, and it was still like, what's the word?
Unstable?
Yeah. The instability in the joint was still there. But Moody helped me, just taped myself up to fuck. There were like 3 layers of tape on my leg. I was like, can't feel anything. But yeah, on the way back up, I was like, this is kind of sore, but I've not done any damage to it. And I phoned my mum and dad after we'd won and was like, oh my God, we won. But I hadn't told them there was a live stream for that specific reason, because I told them that I wasn't playing. Like, I can't tell them there was a live stream, because then they'll see me. They'll see my number and be like, what's she doing? And I'm like, hey.
It just happened, you know.
Like, like when I phoned my mum, like my mum's like my best mate. She just knows, like, that I'm lying through my teeth. She's like, are you playing? And I was like, is Dad there? And she was like, no, he's in the kitchen. I was like, yeah, I was. She was like, it was just like a big sigh, and she was like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. And she was like, right, okay, I'll see you when you're home. Like, yeah. She was like, well done. And I was like, thanks. And I got home and Dad was like, I knew you were going to play. I just knew you were going to do it. But I wanted to think that you had more sense than I thought you had, but clearly you don't. And I was like, well, it's fine, because I didn't get injured, so it's all good.
Can't get more injured if already badly injured. Maths.
Can't get more concussed if already concussed. That's a lie, you definitely can.
So where did you guys finish for your first your first year, or your rookie year?
Oh, I'm going to sound so cocky saying this. First year, went through the whole season undefeated and won finals, so 10-0.
Nice. Perfect season.
Great start.
Okay.
I was like, is this how it is? This is easy.
And then second season you went to 9s. How was that? And how was your knee in comparison? Like,
this is where I realised that I needed to put work into rehabilitating something. Because absolutely no slander and no shade to the teams we played the year before, because we still had like very good battles with them. But 9s is a different level of stamina and effort. Like, not even the teams, you're not even thinking about the teams at this point. Going up to 9s with 2 extra people on the field, you're thinking, it's only 2 extra people. And we played the Royals before, so we kind of knew, like, well, I've not been in the Bathurst, like, sphere for quite a long time, but, like, I started to know a lot of people. So I was like, right, okay, cool, like, I kind of know how she works and stuff like that, but I'd never played Leeds, I'd never played Birmingham, I'd never played... Who else did we play that season? London. I think London, Birmingham, Leeds, us, Peterborough. There was 5. Yeah. I'd never played any of the other teams, so I didn't know what I was expecting. There was GB calibre in all the teams. There was talk of these people like, oh, she's great. Oh my God, she's amazing. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then the first game came and we won it. And I'm thinking, right, well, we won the first game. It was a much harder battle and I was a lot more tired. But I was like, but yeah, should be okay. And then we played London next, and that was a completely different kettle of fish in terms of sport. I actually ended up getting sidelined at half-time. My coach told me I wasn't going back on because he was like, you're injured. I can't put you back on, because I'd got kind of like, is it hit sticked? I don't know how the hell I got hit sticked on the line. But I got like, I can't remember, I don't know who I was playing against, I can't remember what her name was, but she like basically like picked me up and threw me out of the way. Now I'm not like, I'm a rather heavy gal. I lift heavy weights, I am a heavyweight. And she like, just, like I was a trackie, like I was a t-shirt. And I landed on my knee, and I was like, oh, that was really, really sore. But like kind of through half time I was fine, but I was limping a lot. And at the time we had a physiotherapist in our team, and she like looked at me and she was like, she went over, she grasped me in to her head coach and was like, you need to take her off because she's playing through a pain barrier right now and it's not going to end well. Because I thought, I need to play, because there were people were dropping like flies across the league. People were getting injured quite quickly, because again, it is an amateur league, so it's not something that you spend all of your time doing, so people aren't going to be game ready sometimes. So yeah, I got sidelined the second game, but the rest of the games, like, I just decided, I was like, right, see, even if we don't win them, it's not always about winning, even though that's what it is in my brain, because I've spent my entire like teenage life being addicted to winning things. So I was like, I need to understand that there's like a strength that comes with losing. Like I'd lost a lot in my teenage years as well, but like this was a different feeling. It wasn't the same as when I was in band. It wasn't the same when my name didn't get called out. I was like, this feels weird. So yeah. It was definitely a learning curve, 9s. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time it was completely different to my first year. And I felt more responsible because I wasn't a rookie anymore. So I felt responsible for the people who were rookies, who hadn't played before, who didn't know what was going on. And I was like, oh, my children, it's fine. It's not always like this. I promise you. But yeah, it was a new experience, and it's something that I'm really glad that I got to experience, and it wasn't just like the same as the first year, because I wouldn't have the outlook on football as I do now, I don't think.
What would you say, the hardest thing about changing that perspective from someone who is a perfectionist like me? How did you switch to actually there are positives from losing games?
I just had to be more aware of the people that were around me. Like, I had to be more aware of other people's perspectives on the game and where they were taking positives from. And I was like, I need to start looking at the game from other people's eyes. Like, I did have a lot of role models in the team. There was a lot of people who'd been playing it for years and had good, like outlooks on the game. And there's always people who don't. There's like I wouldn't go off in a huff and be like, oh my god, we lost. Like, that has never been me, because I would never want to make anyone else feel bad. But like, I do think that shifting my perspective came a lot from learning from what was around me, and people being like, well, I had this part of the game was really good, and I got a good workout today, and I didn't get injured. And we had, like, even after the game, like, chatting to some of the girls, it was like, during the game there was like anger, but after the game there was no malice, like, and everything was great. Not from everybody, but most people were like, it was a lot like good, like, powerful, like, people who just wanted like the best for everybody, which is something I appreciate. Like, I've always been competitive, and I've always strived for perfection, been a perfectionist, but I wouldn't upset anyone else to get to that, if you know what I mean. I don't want to ever upset anyone else, so if I have to kind of lower my standards a bit for myself in order to make sure that other people aren't being affected by my attitude and my feelings on things, then it's not something that's even like a question, like, that's going to happen, because I would never be like, oh my god, we're all so bad. Like, that's never been me. And I'll never do that to anyone, because I've been there and I've had people say that, like, when I've been with band and stuff, and it's not great. It doesn't help, like, your outlook on it, and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't play anymore. But it's a great solo thing for me, but it's the team part of it has to be perfect. Like, you have to have a good team, like, spirit. If you don't have that, then you could be winning all the time, but it doesn't matter, because you can't celebrate it with anyone. You know what I mean?
Completely agree. And I think fair play to, I feel like the rookies that anybody had last year, that first Nines league, that is like the biggest baptism of fire ever, because that was like the most stacked Nines league ever.
That was mental.
So yeah, like, I saw it and went, no thanks. No thanks, not for me.
Honestly, it was a wild experience, but like, you're playing against people who, one, get paid to watch the game for a living, and Phoebe, which, like, she's good at her job, but she's also good on the field. And then you're playing against people who are playing against international teams and stuff, and you're starting to see all, like, that's athleticism in its purest form, like traditional athleticism. I'm like, that's just what it is. And at the same time, like, I hadn't been training out with the training, if you know what I mean. Like, I went to training once a week on a Sunday, and sometimes on a Wednesday, but that was kind of more offense focused. I just went because I wanted to catch a ball. I was like, this is fun. I'm never going to get to do it during the game, so why not do it now? But yeah, I hadn't been going to the gym during, like, the first 2 years of playing football. I was relying purely on natural strength and natural, like, agility. I wasn't eating right, I wasn't sleeping right, I wasn't doing anything right. I was just like, oh, this is just my little hobby that I do from time to time. And then Nines came, and I was like, I might need to start taking this a bit more seriously. I might need to start looking after my body and looking after my brain and all that kind of stuff, because I'd never seen a concussion before either. I saw a concussion last year, and it, like, scared the bones off me. I was like, I can't allow that. That was why I bought a helmet for myself. I was like, I'm buying a helmet and making sure it's the best helmet I can get to protect my brain, because hell no is that ever happening to me. It scared me. Because obviously it's a very, like, scary injury to see, but it's like an injury that not a lot of people understand is so scary.
I think people that play contact sport normalise it a little bit too much, and they're a little bit casual with it. So I'm glad,
100%.
that you treat it with the reverence it deserves.
When I done my coaching badges and I had to do all the training stuff for it, I took it super seriously because of that. Because I was like, it's not just like, oh, concussion. Like, it's like, oh, brain moved about. Need to make sure that's okay. Like, it's because it's an invisible injury, you can't see it. Other than looking at someone and being like, they're not right. Something's going on. It was a scary thing, but it was a good experience as well in terms of like understanding that it's just as serious as breaking a knee or like dislocating your shoulder or doing something that's just as serious as that, if not more.
It's nice to hear a coach like be so vocal about it, so thank you.
Oh,
thank you so much.
I yell at my boys. I'm like, if you even feel the slightest bit dizzy, get off. I don't care if you're the best player in the team. I don't care if you're the next Tom Brady. Go and sit down and don't annoy me, because it's not even a question. If it's like, oh, coach, I'm feeling a bit sick, you go over there and you sit down and you wait, and I'm going to go and check you. Like, there's no question, there's no arguing. Like, I will lay down the law when it comes to stuff like that.
Amazing. So then it comes to your third year. Where did that leave Edinburgh? And then how did we get Scotland's national team?
Mate, the start of this year was such a roller coaster, just in general. Like, life was lifing for me, and then I was like turning up to training, and I was like, oh my god, like a lot of people have had to like take years out and had to like step away, and people moved, and some people just didn't want to play anymore, which is totally understandable. But it was like, we don't have enough to field sevens, and we're not getting enough people to practice either. It's like, what are we going to do? And then the idea was floated of like, oh, why don't we join together? Now, initially, there's no names to be named, but a couple of people on both sides were probably just like, sorry? East Kilbride Pirates and Edinburgh Wolves joining together to make the one team. Are you like on a different planet right now? Like, I didn't know, because I was just like, oh yeah, cool. I mean, sounds like a good idea. And other people were like, are you mental? Like, because it's a rivalry. It's a fierce rivalry, and like the men's team is really fierce as well. The women's team has been fierce for years. There's been like, I totally get like why people were apprehensive at first, but it did not deserve to work out the way that it did, because it just worked out so perfectly for everyone. And I was like, oh my god, this is a different like level. Like, it felt like a movie. You know, like those like stupid like sports movies you see on like Netflix and like sometimes like your Sky or like BBC One or stuff, where it's like these two teams have to join together, have joined forces. It felt so weird. But yeah, no, it kind of came about. It was floated about in a couple of WhatsApp groups, and then it was like, oh well, we'll give it a go. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We had loads of coaches signing up for it. Players were like, sounds good, sounds like... I'd met a couple of the Pirates anyway, through playing them. Also at Seahawks as well, so I was like, I knew a few of them, so I was like, oh, I'll be fine, because I kind of get along with most people. Like, I tend to always just be nice to everybody, even if there's like internal beef with other people. I'm like, I don't care, that's not my thing anyway. But yeah, first training session I was at, it was just like a normal session, and then names were floated about. Obviously, you know, our head coach is the queen of creativity and everything else as well. She was like, oh, there's this and there's that, and we can do this, we can do that. I was like, right, let's all kick it back maybe like 4 notches, because we've not even decided a name yet. We've not even decided like a place of practice yet. We also need to register as a team for it. Like, the excitement was building. It was just this like ragtag bunch of people. And then Caledonia Chaos was decided as the name, because the way that the team came about was so chaotic. It was one idea that was floated in someone's head that just grew arms and legs, and we ran with it. And then yeah, we added some absolute weapons to our team that I was like, my god, pop off. How we got an up and coming GB safety who can do anything across the field, who's got the same name as me. I'm like, great. Everybody's got to say the name Abbie, and they're going to think it's me that's great, but it's her. I'm fine with that, because they're going to just think it's me. But yeah, we've had to, well, we've reverted. We were going to be Lineman Abbie and Safety Abbie, but then someone floated about the idea of Old and Young Abbie, because Abbie's quite a bit younger than me. And I'm 24, so I'm not old, but it's kind of stuck now. So I'm old Abbie at training and at games. So
Mate,
we'll wear it like a badge of honour.
To be old at 24 Holy shit.
She's 17.
I've got 10 years on you and you're called old. Fuck. She's a
was the point?
shitbag though. Like, I love Abby. She's a shitbag though. Like, her smiling and giggling when she's like fucking DBing. Like, I
Spearing
booped
people
her
across
on.
the field and gets up, and I'm like,
I fucking booped her on the head last tournament. I was like, no, stop it.
I'd be wearing my ankles the other way around if I was doing some of the stuff she was doing. But I hadn't, like, again, because I had joined, like, the scene so late, I didn't know up-and-coming players and who was good and who was bad. I was just like, not even who was bad, but who wasn't as good as the goods. I was like, I didn't know, like, and then obviously we've got Ainsley, who's like GB flag, like, elite level. I'm like, mate, where have you been? How did I not know?
Flag players are something else. Honestly, they are
mental.
something else. Who is your quarterback, by the way?
Ainsley.
Because is that, mate? The throws she makes are disgusting.
You want to know my
anybody?
Sorry.
Any other person like throws it be a miss, but she always throws on a dime. It's so impressive.
It's insane to watch from the side. You just watch me turn around and go, oh. But what I really love about her, because I've only started playing with her this year, what I really love about her is, see, even if there's a missed throw, or if like she passes it off to someone and they get tackled, it does not deter her. There's no switch in her brain. There's no like, oh, that was a bad throw. It's just like, okay, cool, next play. Like that level of like mentality is something that people strive to achieve after like decades and decades of playing any sport, of like brush it off and go to the next one. It's just I've never seen this woman look shook. I'm like,
yeah, I think you've got such a stacked roster. I mean, I will always love Cole and Georgie.
Yeah,
I feel like Georgie is really come into her own as a linebacker, as well as playing running back.
yeah, she's whatchamacallit, her enthusiasm for it's amazing. It's fun to watch, and I mean Cole's just a dog.
I love Cole. I am just the biggest fanboy of Cole. Like the talent and how cool she is just, there's no need for how casual and cool she is. Right? You've got like the tallest O-line in the league. Yeah, it's all like this.
Yeah, you've got Moody as centre and she's like 5'10". You've got Shauna, who's also, again, a rookie.
She's a rookie? Fuck. I thought... What?
Insane, isn't it?
Fuck.
She's good at the job, man.
I gave her shit at the Bears tournament because she wore a Chiefs t-shirt, and I was like, I had no idea she was a rookie. Oh my god, that's amazing.
You know what? I might be wrong, but I remember us at West practice, and coach was like, "Oh, Sai's been playing for a few years. Shauna, you're new. How long have you been playing, Abby?" I was like, "Oh, 3 years." But like Shauna, just like, again, it's the enthusiasm for the game and enjoying it so much. It's just so exciting, and it's what you see from a rookie is like the excitement of like, oh my god. Like, I still get that excitement, but again, like, rookie excitement is it hits different when, like, it's your first year, because it's just, like, everything's so exciting. But yeah, no, I don't think anybody was expecting us to have a stacked roster like we do.
I mean, I was saying this to your fearless leader, Lindsay, that when it got announced, I was the first one to be like, no, this is going to be offensively good. And there were so many people that were like, it depends who's left over, like, you know, it might be, you never know, like, don't get too in your head about it. And then you guys have come and gone undefeated. You've absolutely elbow deep fisted North Sevens in such a beautifully swagger way, and I'm like, yep, that's Scotland's national team for you.
You've got to give yourselves more credit, man.
Nah, man, like, honestly, you deserved it. Like, the football you guys play, I love it. I love watching you guys play.
Well, and everybody appreciates that so much, and we do appreciate anybody who enjoys anything that we do, because it's down to the coaches, like, and them putting in the effort week in, week out, training, sorting out like drills and stuff and making sure that we're doing the things that we need to be doing. I mean, we've got like coaches who have been in the sport for decades, and we've got coaches who have played the sport and been in the sport and know what they're doing, and like, but at the end of the day, like, they understand that we're all, well, not all of us are adults, some of us are teenagers, but most of us are adult women, and others who want to give our best to the team, because that's something that, like, is sometimes found missing from teams, and it's something that I've dealt with in the past of, like, it's not treated as a team, it's like an individual battle, and that's where you lose it. And that's where, like, you could have all of the best offensive weapons and defensive weapons, but see, if they don't play as a team, it doesn't matter.
Amen.
But if they don't communicate and they don't talk to each other and they don't know what's going on behind them or in front of them, then it does not matter, like, in the slightest, because it's the same with, like, the quarterback. If she has a favourite to throw to, then it, like, the defense on the other side are going to know that she's going to throw to that person every time. Whereas, like, for our team, you don't know who she's going to throw to, because there's that many people, and there's not like we'll give it to her, like, because she's good at running, or we'll give it to her because she's good at, like, juking people. It's like, no, we're going to make sure that everyone's getting a touch of the ball and everyone's knowing what they're doing, and, like, we'll give it to the person who is in the right place at the right time and all that. There's no, like, favourites being played, which is, I think, is the perfect recipe for the team, because, yeah, we've got good players in the team, and we're all good players. Like, we've got some absolute dogs in the team, and we've got some people who put in unbelievable amounts of effort for that as well. But because we all play together and want to do well for each other, I think that's why it's worked out so well.
Oh, absolutely. When you guys kind of merged, was there, like, an overarching, this is the culture that we're striving for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a set format that you guys work towards of this is the standard of chaos?
Yeah. Let's get chaotic is the motto.
That's
and
amazing.
It will always be the motto. But we get chaotic with respect and kindness to other people as well. Like, we want to do the best, and we want to be the best, and we want to play our best game, but you can't do that without respecting not only yourself, the people around you, the coaches, the kit man, big up Brian, my guy, but also the other team that you're playing against, their coaches, like, all that kind of stuff. There is no disrespect whatsoever from, like, anyone, because that's, again, like, if you're like, we're better, then hard work will always beat talent. Talent doesn't work hard enough. And you can be amazing, but if you're like, and you get complacent, like, that's something that has been, especially because we have been on a very, very good run, but there's no complacency. There's no, like, oh, it was the last tournament of the season, like, we've won, everything's cool, like, we're into, like, playoffs and stuff. There's no, like, well, we'll just, like, it's the last few games, it'll be fine, we'll just not bother. That's not the mantra at all. It's like, we don't care if it's the last 2 games of the season, we're going to go out and play like it's the first 2 games of the season.
Oh, that's amazing. And that shows respect to the other teams in the league as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So have you guys, because as it looks now with standing, it looks like your first game will be against Exiles. Ooh. Have you already started scouting, or are you guys solely focused on finishing the league first and then turning it to finals?
Well, obviously, in terms of the team, we're solely focused on T4, but coach-wise, I know that the coaches will have plans in place, but I know that the coaches will be looking forward and looking ahead, but our focus is always on the next game and who we're playing next, not about who we're playing in 2-3 games' time. But I know that the coaches will have no doubt been looking at games and looking at rosters and looking at people and devising little plans and looking at what they can do here and what they can do there, like, because that's what I like when I was coaching last year for the uni team. That's what we were doing. Like, the team were focused on the next game, but we were looking a little bit further ahead.
Yes,
because we need to make sure we're prepped before they're prepped. So I know that that's what our coaches will be doing. I'll probably play both sides of the ball next tournament, just so that I have had a chance to do it before playoffs, just in case, because you never know what's going to happen in a playoff game.
No, that's smart.
So
smart. Yeah, at the moment, I think, well, Hearts Cheaters have definitely qualified, and then I think it's looking like Kent Exiles, but then for us, it's either us or Maidens. Depends what kind of tournament they have, to be honest. So it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about the recipe for success. What have you done this season for yourself that has made the difference to your performance?
I have been keeping a sleep diary to make sure that I sleep at a reasonable time, because that was something that I was not a fan of for the last couple of years. I was a fan of staying up late and getting up early and not having enough sleep. And I didn't realise how much that affected me. Especially like when I first started playing, I was, 22, so I was 22. So there's a quick shift from 22 to 24 in terms of your body. It hits like a truck. Like, I can't have one pint without feeling drunk now, whereas I could drink whatever I wanted at 22. But
well, you are old Abbie now, so
see, they might have been right. They've coined the term and it's just going to stick. But yeah, no, I keep a sleep diary now and I make sure that I get a reasonable amount of sleep. I got a personal trainer at the gym that was originally turned out to just be rehabilitating my knee, but then I made such good progress in such a short amount of time that she was like, you need to actually start taking this a bit more seriously, I think. Because I jumped from, I was just doing deadlifts and bench and stuff to just have fun. I was just doing deadlifts to begin with because it was hamstring based and quad based exercises I was doing. And then she was like, you're lifting weight easy. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I've never lifted weights. So I don't know what you're talking about. But Lauren's been powerlifting for quite a few years now. So she knew what was going on. I think it took me 9 weeks to get to 100 kg deadlift.
Go off.
That was she was like, that took me nearly a year. I don't know how the hell you done that. And I'm like, I don't know either. It was fine. So
it was fine.
I was just doing it so nonchalantly. I wasn't oh, cool, that's fine. So yeah. And then that kind of got a bit more serious as well. And then she was like, you should try it for a competition. And I was like, yeah, I mean, do I have to wear one of those stupid leotard things? And she was like, well, yeah, you do. Because they're not exactly the most flattering of outfits.
No, they're not.
You've seen them, I'm assuming. It just doesn't look right for me. It's not a look for me. But I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll give it a go. So there was a first timers one coming up in August. So we started prepping for it around about April time. And I've seen a massive difference from when I went back to football, because I started training at the gym last October. And then when I played my first game, which was Tournament 2, I was like, oh, I have newfound strength. I played the first game and I was like, oh, I'm liking this. I'm I've not felt this for quite a while. So yeah, I've been at the gym. I go to the gym 2-3 times a week. I've got a plan in place. I'm eating a lot cleaner now as well. But I also I like the odd takeaway. I love my energy drinks, so that's never going to stop. I do drink more water now though. But yeah, I do think that it's definitely made me conventionally healthier. But I think the best thing about it has been weightlifting and also sleep. I've definitely improved my sleep.
So what's that been like, having another sport to focus on outside of football, when you go to the gym? Because I know you said at the beginning of this, going to the gym and just doing treadmill shit but now you're moving with purpose. How's that been for you mentally?
To be fair, it's been a couple of weeks to balance it. It took me a few weeks to kind of balance football and weightlifting and moving into a new job and all this kind of stuff. It was a hard thing to balance at first, because it's not something I've ever had to balance before. Yeah, it's been quite hard to balance, but I think I've eventually found a good balance with it now, because I have training Sunday, Wednesday. I go to the gym usually Monday or Tuesday and a Friday, and then I have a Saturday and another day to myself, which is something that is super important. If anyone is listening to this, please take time for yourself. Oh my God, don't throw yourself into things and forget that you have to take time to look after your own body and your brain. You need to have a day on the couch. You can't do everything. I learned that the hard way. It's not fun. So yeah, it's been a hard thing to balance, but I think I've kind of got it now.
I think you're doing amazing. I'm really, really proud of you.
Thanks.
I think you're smashing it.
Thanks so much. You're going to make me blush on this call.
You know I'm one of your number one fans.
Never had support like that. Obviously all my friends do support me, but they kind of don't get American football because none of my friends play sports, so they're like, like friends out with the football. They're like,
Mm.
yeah, well done. No idea what's going on. No, having like people in your corner again is a massive thing as well.
So how did you get into Sealand? Because that's like even more football.
God, try to balance everything.
Mm.
Well, a couple of the girls from Wolves joined, and at the time I was like, I can't do any more. I am dead. I can't do any more sport. This is enough. But then a couple of them dropped out because they didn't have time either. And then like space and free time opened up for me. And then I messaged my fellow D Lineman Jenny about it, and she was like, "Well, like I have to like swear you in a way. I have to make sure that like you get like a good rep, because obviously the head coach will be like, how's Abby? Is she a dick or is she not?" So I think I got good enough reviews from my friends in football, and then came down to the Scotland training. Obviously, unfortunately, I couldn't be at the Leicester one because I was at work, but I'm so excited to play the charity game and in Amsterdam. I'm so excited.
Oh, are you doing the charity game as well?
Yeah, I'm doing both. Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's amazing. Yeah,
We're on the same team.
Are we?
Yes.
Mate. Okay, first off, concussion, so be nice.
Okay, fair.
But also, I'm old, so memory is like a...
So am I, apparently. 24, man. Not even 25 yet. Pensioner.
Fuck me.
Yeah, me, you, and Jenny, I think, are... Is it... Oh, God.
Oh my God, and Laura, it's
Yeah.
Sealand's D Line.
Yeah. Beefy on the other side, Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be so good.
Moody's on the other team as well, I've just remembered.
Oh, I didn't know that she's... Like, I forgot all these people that have signed up.
Yeah,
like,
a
it's
lot of more people
amazing.
joined.
That's amazing. It's
doing
for such
so
a good
well and I love
cause.
it.
So, what would you say to anyone on the fence about wanting to join American football, but they're like, is this for me? I'm not really active.
Not to copyright strike you, but like Nike, just do it. You just have to take the jump. I know it's scary. I know it seems like the biggest jump you'll ever have to make, because I was there. I was like, I'm not athletic, I'm not this, I'm not that. All the bad things that you think about yourself. But then once you just get over that hurdle of like, I'm going to look stupid, because that's something that everyone thinks. Like, even when I joined the gym, I was like, people are going to be looking at me and thinking I'm doing something stupid. No one gives a singular shit what I do in the gym. The only advice I've got to give to people is please just take the chance, because it might be the best decision of your life. It might also not be. You might also not enjoy it, and that is okay. This is so funny. It is the equivalent of going to the toilet in public. Everyone does it. People are scared to go into public toilets because they're like, oh my God, people perceiving me doing a bodily function. And I'm like, bro, just go to the toilet. Everyone does it. You're going to leave there. It's the most anonymous thing in the world. No one knows what you're doing. Football's the same. Just go and do it. You'll enjoy it. You might not. No one's going to be judgmental either way. It is what it is.
And don't force it, because you'll shit yourself.
Perfect. That is my biggest fear. It genuinely is. I'm so scared, because that's like I'm not a good advocate for it, because a lot of people are like, you've got to like eat healthy and stuff before a game. I physically can't, like, I can't have like porridge and all that kind of stuff before a game, or like cereal and toast and all that kind of stuff. If I'm eating anything, it has to be very small, because I am terrified of shitting myself on the field. Terrified of.
I mean, you've got silver pants as well, haven't you? Like, that's got to be brutal for like periods, surely. Like,
I mean,
is that like...
I've never had to deal with it, because I don't take mine anymore, because I'm on birth control for it.
Nice.
But, silver's not the greatest colour, but in terms of the colour scheme and what the pants that we had available to us, because again, that's another thing you've got to take into account when joining a new team. Equipment wise, you've got to be like, because we still wear silver helmets. The people who came from the east, people who came from the west, wear black helmets, but we have to wear the same uniform, and we had more silver pants than we did have red or black pants. I would have preferred black, because they're the ones that I've got are more comfortable than the silver ones. But at the end of the day, yeah, silver's a choice of colour. But you never know. Next year we might make a complete uniform change if we've got the money.
I mean, your jersey goes hard.
It does.
It goes so hard. And if anybody is listening to this that doesn't know, please go to the Chaos Instagram, because it's just
plug it. Plug the page in the socials. Yeah.
First ever shout out to plug someone's Instagram. That's how balls deep I am for Chaos.
Mate, the jersey, it's Moody's design as well. Moody designed the majority of it. I think Lindsay started off the design, but Moody designed a good majority of it. And you obviously will have seen the betrayal that was forced upon the team by the coaches, because we were told the week of Tournament 2 that they wouldn't have the jerseys in time. So we would have to wear the Aberdeen Bulls jerseys again. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then we were getting on the bus, and then I didn't see the big bag of Bulls jerseys. And I was like, maybe someone else is bringing them down in the car. Cool, whatever. And then we're all getting ready in the changing room, and I'm like, I need my jersey to put on my shoulder pads. So I was like, I'll go ask. And then Lindsay comes waltzing in, and she's like, guys, I've got news, I've got good news and bad news. And I was like, what's this good news she's got to tell us? And then my brain started to kind of whir a bit. And you've seen the video from her route. It was like, we don't have the Bulls jerseys. And Moody was meant to come in and go, but we've got our own. But she came in wearing the jersey and just went, ah! And they all just screamed. But yeah, I'm still not forgiving them for that.
It's a really good jersey, though. I'm very, very jealous.
It does go hard.
Very, very hard.
That one and the Seahawks one is the first time I've ever had my name on the back of anything. I felt like
I love names on the back of jerseys.
I don't get why people don't do it more often. I would have preferred like stitched on names in terms of like, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
But again, the cost of that would have been hellish.
But the layers of that, I've not even thought of that before.
Mm-hmm.
I like where you're going with that.
I'm very happy with the jersey that I've got. Do not smite me down, Chaos Gods. I enjoy my jersey. Leave me be.
So, have you got any leaving sentiments for your adoring fans, for Chaos, for anyone listening?
Final words. Come join us. It's a good laugh. Come join any team near you. Like, I promise you'll enjoy it. And then if I'm lying and you don't enjoy it, I'll buy you a Freddo. Like, because I don't understand how people don't enjoy sport. I don't get it. I will never understand someone who doesn't enjoy one sport. There will be something you enjoy, even if it's not the typical ones. Like, American football in the UK is still rising, and the women's teams still need to rise a bit further to match those of the men's and the uni teams, because they've got probably more history and stuff like that as well, and more backing and things like that. And I know that in the next 5-10 years, we'll be having this conversation again, but we'll be at a different level. But it's the same in any sport. Women's sports across the globe needs to be taken more seriously as well. And the only way we can do that is by growing it. So go join a team, even if you're a ball boy, girl, whoever, whatever you want to do, even if you hand the water out, I don't care. Just go and join it and meet new people. Because you never know, you don't know who you're going to meet. People have met partners. They've met people for life. They've met like ride or die friends. Like I know I have. I've met friends who I'm going to be like friends with for the rest of my life. And that's going to stick. You'll have different experiences. You'll learn a lot of things, and then at the end of it, if you decide to leave and you look back on it, you'll look back on it with like enjoyment. Joiners, because chaos. But yeah. Just get everyone, just the whole league in chaos. We play against ourselves.
Just cramming into Scotland.
You just see the tourism in Scotland go up, and everybody's like, I wonder what's going on. It's like chaos, mate. Just that good. I just love it, man.
Well, I'd like to say that I think you're doing amazing. We've only met last year because of Sealand. I'm really proud of you for all the work that you're doing, not only in football but in the gym. I know you overcome quite a lot, and I could not be proud of you going from strength to strength. Seriously, I am really proud to call you a friend. And
thank you. Likewise to you.
You are amazing. You are amazing.
So are you. We love it at the end. Love that.
So, I've been Bo Snow.
I've been Abbie Meehan.
Yeah, and this has been Lids Off. Bye.